Welcome to Talking New York Real Estate with Vince Rocco. Our show is all about the exciting world of real estate and in particular, how it relates to the luxury New York marketplace. But if you are not planning a real estate transaction in New York, we still have plenty of information you can use no matter where you are. Now, here's our show. Good morning, everyone. I would like to welcome my listeners and viewers in the United States and all around the world. I am Vince Rocco, and it is Tuesday morning here in New York City, so let's go behind the headlines and get the real story. But first, this is Talking New York Real Estate, the state of our industry. And up front today, RLTYco offers financial and support services tailored for real estate professionals. Their platform includes commission advances, legal and tax services, and health coverage options, helping agents and brokerages navigate financial, regulatory, and health needs. Their commission advance service helps agents access earned commissions before closing, providing liquidity for ongoing business expenses. They offer legal and tax support to assist with complex regulatory issues and provide resources for managing healthcare needs, which can be challenging for individual independent agents. By addressing these essential areas, RLTYco streamlines operational challenges, empowering real estate professionals to focus on growth and client service. We will discuss that and so much more as Talking New York Real Estate gets underway on this busy Tuesday morning. And in the news this morning, Manhattan's famed Surrey Hotel is making a comeback. Following bankruptcy proceedings, new owners, and a renovation of the 100-year-old Art Deco landmark on the Upper East Side reopened last month as a condo hotel with 100 hotel rooms and 14 condos, part of the Surrey residences. Now, after a whisper sales campaign, just one remaining apartment is about to hit the market, a 3-bedroom duplex penthouse asking $50 million. The sprawling residence, the building's most expensive, offers 5,100 square feet and 2,300 square feet of outdoor space. The New York City Council has released a housing plan for counterproposal to Eric Adams' City of Yes plan. Council Speaker Adrian Adams last week announced City for All, which pairs the zoning changes of the mayor's plan currently under review by the council with several measures and funding demands to ensure affordability for renters and homeowners. And Sonia Morgan is swapping the buzz of New York City for the balmy shores of West Palm Beach, Florida. The Real Housewives of New York City star has snapped up a waterfront condo in a move that signals the end of decades-long Manhattan chapter, as the Post has reported. At 60 years old, Morgan is embracing a new, more relaxed lifestyle, and her digs come with surprising purchase price, $600,000. which is a significant downsize from her sprawling Upper East Side townhouse sale just recently. And the final tower of Jersey City's massive 3-building complex, Journal Square, opened last week, marking the completion of a transformative development. City officials joined Kushner Real Estate Group and National Real Estate Advisors to celebrate the opening of the 60-story tower. The other 2 high-rise rentals have already opened. The $900 million, 2.3 million square foot development includes 1,800 luxury apartments. And this month, the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade returns for its 98th year to start off the 2024 holiday season. It will take place on Thursday, November 28th at 8:30 and promises to be the biggest yet, thanks to 5,000 volunteers. And with me on set today are Briggs Elwell, from the CEO and co-founder of RLTYco, and Eric Zollner, head of sales at RLTYco.
Hi, it's Stephen Bailey from Roadway Moving and Storage. Listening to Vince Rocco, you know the right partner makes all the difference. At Roadway, we deliver an experience your clients will love. For specialized services and white glove care, choose Roadway. Want to learn more? Email me at steven@roadwaymoving.com or visit roadwaymoving.com.
Okay, everybody, we are back. So we're going to talk a little bit about, the service end of the real estate industry. We talk about rentals, we talk about sales, we talk about, commissions. We've talked about just about everything this year, which is all good. But I want to get into RLTYco and the co-founder and the chief executive officer here and the head of sales, because they have stuff that really resonates with agents, or will once we get that message out even more clear. Briggs, I want to start with you. So, you have many years of experience in the field. You've got a very varied background, real estate degree at NYU, on and on and on. Tell us a little bit about your background and tell us, bring us up to, where or why you decided that RLTYco was necessary and that was going to make an effect on our industry in a big way.
Sure. So all the way through college and then my entire career, I've been in real estate. One of the big luxuries of my career so far is that I've pretty much touched upon all the segments of the business. First, I started in at Related, working on the sales side. Then I transferred into the biz dev side and also was largely involved on the development side.
We're talking about the Related companies here in New York.
Yep. And that's where Eric and I met many, many years ago. So I spent about 7 years at Related, and I was involved in pretty much every component of the deal, whether it's starting from financing to building and then selling. And so along the way, I got to witness kind of where a lot of the inadequacies in the space exists. And one of the first that came to mind, and I think, Eric, you'll definitely harp on this as well, real estate agents effectively are kind of the last person that anybody's taking into consideration during the transaction process. And the unfortunate part about it is that an agent is actually the first and the last, but yet they're being cared for as if they're only the end, meaning here's your commission check, thank you for showing us the house. But that isn't the big picture.
Right.
The agent is actually doing so much more.
Right.
And so after that, I moved on. I ran 2 different real estate brokerages. One was more of an investment sales and commercial brokerage, and then the other was residential. And spending about 4 or 5 years doing that, I really witnessed this just gigantic gap that exists in this 1099 space, which is specifically contractors. That could be a developer, that could also be a brokerage, and it could be a real estate agent.
Talk a little bit about Optimar International. Was that on the commercial side?
Yes. So Optimar, it was a brokerage that was based down in Miami. They were actually partnered with a developer called Trans-American Development. And what they did is the 2 entities came together and decided that they wanted to expand into New York. And I oversaw the expansion for the businesses. So we both looked at investment opportunities for the developer, and then we also built a brokerage of about 30 agents.
And you co-founded RLTYco in 2021. And when I'm teaching, writing business plans in real estate school at NYRE, I always say to people, you wake up in the morning and you have this great vision. You wake up in the morning and wow, I have a great idea for a company. Tell us what the inspiration was for you based on what you just said, with your background, on what you thought RLTYco should be and what you wanted to be going forward.
So initially, when we launched, we were actually Realty Capital. And Realty Capital
Correct.
was exclusively specialty finance products for real estate agents and developers. And what I mean by that is that we did commission advancing, and then we also did a similar product for smaller developers if they were looking potentially to cash out of a project before it was completed or before it was sold.
Which I think is brilliant.
It's proven to be a very good product. We really don't promote it much. When clients come through, we take them on a case-by-case basis, but it's effectively the exact same concept as advancing a commission. You're a developer, you've got a 4-unit, multifamily in Bushwick. You've sold 3 of the units, and you want to go get your next project. The bank most likely doesn't want you to take out another mortgage on it. And so in some instances, we'll actually purchase the pending commissions that exist off of those 3 units that are being sold. But rewinding, the precipice for us launching Realty Capital at the time was when COVID hit. Everybody went into, obviously we were all there, the lockdown period, and real estate agents were absolutely back against the wall. And throughout my entire career, I had witnessed the shortfall that existed in the pay schedule for an agent. And so at the same time, witnessing what happens when all of a sudden volume goes to 0, I knew that there were outstanding deals that existed and agents wanted to get funding for them. My business partner, Dan Kennedy, and I, we had been operating the business as a side business for about a year under the branding of Commission Capital.
Correct.
And at the time, we said, you know what? The demand that we're getting, all of our clients that we had organically put together, we hadn't even done a single advertisement or anything. We didn't even have a website, actually, when we were running it. The organic growth led us to realize we need to turn this into a serious business. And so we went out, raised some capital through some investors. That's where Realty Capital launched. And fast forward to today, basically front and center with the agent community, we've witnessed so many other gaps and interests as to where can we help. So we actually grew the business to RLTYco, and Realty Capital is just one of the arms that we offer from a service standpoint.
So for the agents out there who are listening, how does the actual commission advance process work? Obviously, I think I may have taken advantage of it once before in the 22 years that I'm in the business. There was a company that provided this service a long, long time ago. I don't even know if they're still around. But explain, I don't think they are. But
so what's interesting is that it was always because I too, being an older person in the industry now, 25 years.
You poor thing.
It was never looked upon as something that you did, right? Because you had to have manager approval.
Correct.
And there was a lot of shame and just like, how could you not? So I grew up in the business of, never thinking that you could do something like that. When I had my own firm, Zollinger and Associates, I went through the bank and I had I created different ways to make sure if there ever was a gap, because that was the appropriate way to go. We didn't have opportunities like this where it takes all the shame away. And
no, absolutely correct. But as I said at the top of the show, sometimes advancing commission to either an agent or a developer or whatever lends, gives them the opportunity, right, to continue to grow business while you're waiting for the actual money to come in. But
we like to say financial flexibility through empowerment.
Well,
right?
that's perfectly fine. But explain, how that process actually works for the agent out there who has not heard about
the application process. You
the
want to take that one, or you
application
want to go?
I will, because I actually found myself in a financial gap earlier this year, which was my introduction to RLTYco. I mean, I knew Briggs, and I found myself in March. I needed to pay bills, and I was waiting on the board approval. And so I thought, why don't I investigate this and explore? I couldn't believe how really easy it was. I just went to RLTYco.com, went under capital, filled out the quick application, and I had funding directly in my account within 24 hours. And there was no manager approval. Yes, you do the contract
backup
of sale.
provided, backup needed, right?
Of course.
Contract
so the contract, we had just had board approval. So I love the flexibility that it gave me to then pay my bills on a regular schedule.
Yeah.
And meet that gap.
Right.
But let's face it, in this business today, it's not the same as it was 25 years ago. There were no teams. And so now real estate agents are expected to have an entire team. I mean, if you have a team, but you have these stacks of operations, marketing, sales, that wasn't part of your business plan a very short time ago. So now you're expected to run this entire full service company. And so this is where I think we're really meeting a demand of the industry by being able to providing that funding on your schedule. So access your earnings when you need them.
I think, you raise a good point. And again, we're in the business for about the same amount of time, 22 years. And I do remember there weren't any teams. In some cases in my office on the Upper West Side and elsewhere in my company, you might have had partnerships, but only a few partnerships.
Right.
And I think what some of the newer or younger agents are experiencing today, excuse me, who work on teams is more of a flow of revenue coming in from everybody else's deals. You might only get a certain percentage of it, but you're getting something coming in. When you're working independent, when you're working on your own, working with a partner, whatever, which I did for 10 years, you're at the mercy of, when your stuff closes, when your stuff gets paid. So I believe your service is genius, and I think that more people out there should know about it. Do you take a fee for that when you advance a commission and they have to pay you back, or do you not?
We do. So at the end of the day, what we do is we're purchasing the commission.
Correct.
It's not a loan. The agent is actually selling it to us. And what we point out to the agent when they're using us is that you earned it. At the end of the day, you're just having to wait for it because the commission was earned the second the contract was signed. The fee varies depending on type of deal, location, price point, and a variety of other factors. One of the things that is great is actually when you talk about agents from a standpoint of being their own business and their own entities, the majority of the fee is actually tax deductible depending on how you're structured, because it's a cost of doing business. You're effectively paying a fee to get capital so that you can grow your company or continue to operate. We like to refer, one of the hardest parts about being in real estate is that the income stream is very lumpy. And what that means is that you could theoretically go 3 months, 4 months, 6 months,
That's a good
have an absolute,
very accurate.
have a home run deal, or potentially, unfortunately, one that falls apart. But it's not like your standard, K1 or W2 income stream where you're getting either a biweekly or a monthly fixed rate. And that is the hardest part about being a real estate agent is, how much do you budget? How much do you save? Where do you spend it? Where do you hide it? And so that was, one of the main reasons that we launched RLTYco. In regards to what, the agent does, just to sum it up on the application process, it is very simple. You simply apply brokerage, name, email, and we need the contract.
Correct.
We will do
board approval, which is important.
Board approval. I will tell you, there have been certain circumstances that we'll buy a commission that hasn't been approved yet.
Interesting.
Very rare, but we will do them if it's a complete home run and you're very, very confident.
And a condo.
And a condo, certainly. But the process is really as simple as identification, past income, and the contract. Those are the three core components for us to be able to approve, and 99% of our deals are actually funded same day.
Take note, guys, because this really is a very interesting program, and it's helpful in times like this when things are not as easy, or deal flows in a very trying time as we've been through the last almost 2 years. It's very helpful, which leads me to ask the next question: what legal and tax support is available out there to agents who are in this business and running full steam ahead in many different directions? Where do you come in from a tax perspective or tax support perspective, and what's available?
So I'll take legal, you take tax. Okay. Pretty much,
because that's also very interesting.
One of the biggest mistakes that we have seen, and the biggest, honestly, joy of running the business is as we continue to grow, we get more feedback from agents and brokerages. What do you need? Mm-hmm. And one of the first things that happened, I'll tell you a little story. I was having dinner with an agent, and she, we won't say who, but she was incredibly successful. The year that I had dinner with her, which I guess was 2 years ago, the previous year, so that would have been 2021, they did about $4.5 million in GCI by themselves.
A bonanza year, 2021.
Wow. 2021, certainly a bonanza year, and unfortunately followed by a big lull, but I think we're on the up here. $4.5 million. Mm-hmm. She did not have an LLC. She didn't have an entity. So she was reporting this income to the IRS exclusively as a sole proprietor.
Right.
And unfortunately, when you do that, you pay self-employment tax. Now, for every $100,000 in income that you declare to the IRS, if you do not have an entity, you're most likely losing roughly $12,000 in self-employment tax that you have to pay to the government. Mm-hmm. That's a loose number, just to be clear. Don't quote me on this, because the reality is everybody's tax.
It's a number.
Everybody's tax circumstance is different. But in this instance, the person had most likely spent, let's say, roughly $300,000 to $400,000 in self-employment tax because they didn't have an entity.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when we founded the business initially, my business partner, Dan, owns a law firm himself. And so I said, listen, we need to figure out how to provide services so these agents can start on day one with proper formation. And so day one for real estate agent, you get your license. Day two, I know some might disagree with this. Day two, create an entity. Because if you don't have an entity, you are burning money. Every dollar you make is either you're not going to be able to tax deduct, expenses or any of the things that you might get the benefit of with a legal entity. So, without skipping to the tax part, because that's going to go to you, we created Realty Legal, which was set up so that we can actually do entity formation for the real estate agents, and we do it at a very, very low rate. It's actually currently free to start a basic LLC with us. And then obviously there are additional fees as you grow it. But that way you have two things that are a benefit. One, you're going to save on your taxes. And then two, most importantly, which is, we don't like to overemphasize this, but it's a reality. If you're a real estate agent, and let's just say, God forbid, you said something incorrect, your client sues you. If you don't have an LLC, unfortunately, your personal assets are up for grabs. If you do have an LLC or a corporation, you are protected, because the reality is that the corporation is at fault, not you personally, for making the mistake of and it's a mistake. Some people will make them. A misrepresentation, it's an accident. But unfortunately, the legal world 100%. Turns it into a difficult situation.
And I talk about that when I'm teaching too, and I don't remember the course we talk about it, but when you're setting up an LLC, it protects your company.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So even if if somebody wants to, sue you, file bankruptcy, whatever it is, at least you are protected.
I think it also sets up the mindset, right, that you're a real company.
Correct.
And so for me, mindset is everything. And so when you're able to, really have yourself set up as that professional LLC, that limited liability company, it really, for myself as a young agent, it helped me, because it just really made a clear delineation between personal and and professional.
No, and as Briggs said before, the tax effect is incredible. And I have an LLC. I've had one for a long, long period of time. And look, my opinion, there's no other way to do it. All right, we have to take a short break. No one's going anywhere. This is Talking New York Real Estate on the More Network. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
The Everset provides full-service staging and furniture rental solutions in the New York area. For more information, please visit us at staging.theeverset.com or email us at staging@theeverset.com to request a free proposal.
Eric, anything else on the tax business that you want to bring up or mention?
As far as RLTYco itself, think of us as like your hub, right? So you can come to us for commission funding, but really out of the gate, you get to set yourself up as a company, as a professional limited liability company. And then for tax purposes, you really need to align yourself with somebody in the know. You can't just rely on any tax professional to know your business in and out. So what we can do is provide you across the country a professional CPA that understands both the filing and the deductions for real estate professionals. So it's a one-stop shop, one could say. And hopefully soon we're going to be able to provide education. But as far as the legal goes, Briggs, we were talking about other opportunities, correct?
Sure. Before I jump to the realty legal, I will say, just to be very clear on the realty tax. Realty tax is an entity that was formulated specifically for agents, developers, and brokerages to maximize their deductions. And as we grew, Realty Legal started doing the entity formation. We got front row seats to witness the fact that a large portion of agents are doing kind of the quick and easy H&R Block route. Unfortunately, an H&R Block route has no interest in actually maximizing your deductions. So what we did is we created a program.
Boilerplate.
It's incredibly boilerplate. They're not incentivized to go push the envelope in the sense that should we deduct this?
They don't have an understanding of our industry and what is available for us as deductions.
So what we did is we created a program through Realty Tax that we have based on your income, two different opportunities. One is a tailored approach with a very high-end accounting platform across the country to maximize your deductions. The other is a click-through program for your taxes, really more for the sub $100,000 income earner, but it also is specifically tailored for deductions for real estate agents. So unfortunately, we witnessed it, especially, actually, we also saw it through Realty Capital when we did income verification for an agent. The agents themselves, some of them are just taking the cheap or easy way out. The reality is the cheap, easy way out is actually much more expensive because you are paying more to the IRS than you necessarily need to because you're missing deductions. And so that was where, to your point of being a hub, we wanted to put everything together so that in kind of summary, you come to RLTYco, you get your money sooner. We figure out how to help save and protect your capital. And then we can talk about it a little further down the road, but to help you actually grow your capital. On the Realty Legal front, as you were mentioning, Realty Legal is not just simply going to be entity formation. We are in the process of putting together a platform so that we're actually going to be getting involved with contracts as well and closings.
Talk about that. Sneak preview. Now that you let the cat out of the bag.
More to come on that front. The process of formation is complicated, and obviously I'm not an attorney, so I can't be involved with a law firm. But we are in the process of figuring out making it so RLTYco as a platform can offer those services.
So you would be, and I know more to come. So you would be replacing the managing agent or replacing the actual closing law firm, or how do you? I'm trying to visualize how you would get involved in a closing perspective.
When we say closing, contract law, so representation of buyer or seller. Way down the road, obviously, asset management and property management are interesting, but that's not in the near term.
Got it.
We have somebody has actually come to us on that topic, but it's we don't want to spread ourselves too thin.
Okay, one of my favorite options that you guys offer is the healthcare option. And, as an independent contractor, as I said at the top of the show, we're on our own. We pay our own private health insurance because our companies don't supply that. We're not employees. We're 1099 or independent contractors, whatever. And it's expensive. And it's very, very costly. Explain to our audience, how the healthcare options, or first of all, what they are, and how they can help independent agents cut back on expenses or offer them programs that they don't even know exist. How does that work?
So when we first decided that we were branching out of just Realty Capital, we did a bit of a poll in the agent community, and we asked, what are the biggest pain points?
You sure did.
First one, without question, getting paid. Everybody, no matter how they phrased it, was either I get paid too slowly, I don't get paid enough, inconsistent income stream. It was always getting paid. Number two was always healthcare. Lots of agents don't really realize when they jump into the business, it has nothing to do with real estate. It's simply what it is to be a contractor. As a 1099, you are employing yourself, and unfortunately, that means benefits don't exist. Now, there are pockets across the country that have figured out their own little, programs within a brokerage. But the reality is that, legally speaking, there's a very fine line in the relationship between an owner of a brokerage and their 1099 contractor. They're not really supposed to offer promotion or promotional things such as healthcare, tax, and legal, because it's a conflict of interest in the 1099 employer relationship. There's a very different relationship if you're a W-2, which is why you see in a brokerage, typically healthcare is offered to the marketing department.
Right.
They're W-2. They're not going to be on 1099. And so we went out and tried to figure out, how can we solve this problem? The short answer is there's no magical solution in the fact that healthcare is always going to be complicated for 1099s. But what we did do is we partnered with United Healthcare, one of the biggest and the best in regards to United States healthcare, and they were willing to create a program that was dedicated to servicing the agent community across the country, except for Massachusetts and New York. But we do have a solution for Massachusetts and New York for 1099s. We do have W-2 for here, but basically what it is without having to pay a broker fee. Most agents, their premiums are very high because they have to pay a broker fee, and then they have to navigate the opportunities available to them through that community. Within United, there's no fee, so it immediately becomes cheaper to the agent because they're going through it. They're getting the free aspect of a broker that's assisting them and navigating. And we offer over 250 different providers. So what that means is that the agent actually may not, in many cases, end up at a United program. They could end up at Blue Cross. They could end up at any, even government healthcare. Mm-hmm. Federal healthcare, we actually help the agent navigate it as well. Very complicated. I don't know if you've gone on the website, but going through it itself is a big process. Most agents walk away with it thinking,
look at it and thought, okay.
It's taxing.
It's taxing.
Yeah.
Litigious.
So our service offers complimentary navigation and education on all of it. And the reality is that way you don't necessarily have to be concerned about picking the right option for yourself. Mm-hmm. But in many regards, in almost all states, again, unfortunately, I have to bookend it with Massachusetts, New York. But we do have a solution for that.
If you are in Massachusetts or New York, we will have a button soon on the website because it's not the same 1-855 number. You can just contact me directly and I'll put you through to the right person.
Not that I want to put either of you on the spot, but mm-hmm. I'm an independent contractor. I'm a real estate agent for 22 years, and I pay my own private health insurance, $800-something a month. Mm-hmm. I mean, started at $400-something a month, of course.
Keeps going up.
And it keeps going up every year. And I keep thinking, all right, so how can I do this better, right? How can I get it cheaper? What do I do?
Well, how did you select yours?
A private broker who I was working with for years and years from when I left corporate America where everything was given to me. So I don't know, but he shops around, or he was shopping. I've had this company now for going on 3 years. And come what January, of course, when things change, I want to maybe consider an option. And what would the option be for me with your plans?
Well, we're in open enrollment now, right? So you should be looking now, not in January.
No. Exactly.
During open enrollment.
Right.
So we do provide that service free of charge to you, so it wouldn't cost you to have us explore those options.
I would say that the answer between what you have and what we provide is this. Just like with any industry, let's say you're a broker. Mm-hmm. A broker is going to effectively look one way or another based upon their own incentives, right? You have commission, 3% here, 2% here, 4% there. What we offer with our platform is that you're going to get complimentary complementary education and research on all the opportunities for you without any of the conflicts of this, this partner or this one.
And that's what's needed, I think. I mean, understanding, what I might want to sign up for, understanding, educationally what each program is about.
Yeah.
It might work for me. It might not work for me. So I can just go to the site, look at the health.
So I'll give you an answer to that question that I think you might like.
Mm-hmm.
You just said it might work for me. It might not work for me, right?
I'm thinking
I can assure you, correct, cost
Right.
comparison financially. The good thing about what we offer is you're going to walk away with it saying, you know what, I didn't waste my time. If it's not worth for me, at least I know that what I have is the best. So we might be able to provide you the ability to
There's
verify
a spin on it, right?
the best.
That's terrific. Well,
That's the short answer, though.
Well, you're right. You're absolutely correct. Are there any fees, just to become RLTYco.com clients, or do you pay an upfront fee to navigate all of these sites, or is everything just individual, depend on what you're looking at, what you need? How does that work?
It's all individual. I can tell you as we continue to layer in more and more benefits, we are considering, should there be subscriptions, things like that. Our intent is to not maximize fees at the end of the day.
Correct.
We're here to benefit the agent community, but we are looking at it from a standpoint of, is there an association component with the fact that we're looking at adding, we're going down the gym route? Do we offer discounts here, and there? Do we start doing travel incentives? All those things, when you layer it in, we want to be able to maximize the ability for an agent to get access to things at a cost sensitive way. So at the moment, the short answer is no, but as we build it, we may offer the no and then the yes component to that. And the yes might be things that, like, you suddenly get, promotional discounts for suits and things like that. But we're not there yet.
All right. We know the broker community is spread out across the country, right? Lots, and I don't even know what the number of agents are. In New York, there's upwards of 30,000, I think.
I think we're at 37,000 right now, but we're in the middle of a down cycle.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, where are most of your clients today? What part of the country are you finding that most of your interested agents are coming to your site for tax support and legal support, for healthcare, for commission advancement? Where in the country is that coming from? I mean, we all live in big bad New York, right? We all understand what New York is about, and we think the center of the universe is New York City, but it isn't. Not in this industry. It's a big part of it.
I would say it's the center, but there's certainly lots of synergies with all the other markets out there. But Briggs and Dan started the company here in New York. And so this is obviously the epicenter. But with the recent raise, we're now national. So just last week, we were in Chicago.
Well, I was going to ask you, isn't that part of what your new assignment is, to get out there and spread the message around the country? And
100%.
What is that message, and where are you going? Chicago was one. You were in Miami, I think.
For the Real Deal
right.
South Florida Forum, which was just fantastic. It was like better than Art Basel.
Really?
For the industry, yes. It was
It's a great,
so well attended.
I've gone the last 2 years. It's spectacular event.
It's now 2 days.
I've heard that. I haven't been.
And the panel speakers were incredible. And in Chicago, we were at Christie's Expo.
Correct.
Which that in itself was about 1,200 agents.
Wow.
So these opportunities to meet agents where they are is paramount. And it's I feel very blessed and excited about this role because I now get to support the industry that supported me for 25 years.
Correct.
Right? So Tony Robbins always says,
well, I like to say
giving.
giving back is always something to be very proud of, right?
Right.
So if you can do that in whatever message you're trying to get out there, that's not a bad thing.
I can give you the brief summary, though. The short answer is we launched in New York and we grew to Florida. Mm-hmm. Those were just two markets we wanted to test because they're actually incredibly different. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Florida in comparison
and
to New York.
And you're still a young
a whole
company. You're
world.
only 3+ years old, right?
We are. We are in the process, thanks to Eric joining. At the short time frame, we will be expanding across the country. Mm-hmm. I will tell you, if a viewer is on and wants to apply from California, we'll look at it. But we're not promoting
all over on this program.
Sure. We seriously do review applications at the moment, and pretty much every market. But we're just not growing and promoting there yet.
What about data security? People always ask, if I go on a website, I don't know whatever website. I mean, what kind of data security do you provide for members or lookers to your site when you're putting in things like commission advance, for example? You're putting in a contract, you're putting in, board approval, or whatever. confidential information that comes along with the client. I mean, what kind of security? Everybody these days gets hacked. Everybody has issues with security breaches. What are you looking at, or what do you provide to protect a user?
Very good question. The short answer I will give to that one is that that is way above my pay grade. But I will tell you that we enlisted an incredible team on the tech side that has been involved since the initial formation of the company. We have never had a successful hack. All the data is in an encrypted form and in a very secure place. It's something that in the very early goings we were cognizant of, especially because you have social security numbers, tax information,
Correct.
Financials.
Correct. That's actually what I'm getting at. Better said.
No, you're spot on. I wish I could give you a more specific, we have this software or this platform. But the answer I will say is that we've enlisted really the best in the industry in regards to web and tech development. We've spent a very significant amount of capital building out our tech platform, and all of those things have security as a key component.
Eric and I have spent many years selling new development, so working with developers and understanding, what makes them tick, how they flow. Mm-hmm. You mentioned earlier in conversation how, developers might be interested in your commission advance program for whatever their reasons are. Who right now seems to be expressing more interest in that program? Is it the developer community? Is it the brokerage firms? Or is it the actual individual agents themselves?
So we do not promote the developer product. When a client comes to us, we review it and we've done a good amount of that business, but we don't promote it. So the short answer there is that it's purely organic that's come to us. Those are all local. I wouldn't use that as a barometer simply because we're not actively pursuing it. Eric's not going to go out there and pursue it. Brokerage and agent certainly are the forefront for us. The more that brokerages, especially the mid-sized ones, find out that we offer the same platform to them, we are doing more and more of that business. Especially if you're new to the industry, you want to grow and open another office. The reality is, let's be real. Banks are not exactly opening, rolling out the red carpet for a brokerage financial loan at the moment. So for us to be able to provide an equity advance on their pending receivables is a great product. And then in gross, the reality is it's always agents. The agents come to us, and we've had such a great relationship with the ones that we've worked with. We've just never been in a position to rapidly grow, and now we are. And so we're incredibly excited to kind of go state by state and grow across the country.
Eric, do you have a plan to talk to or in front of companies such as mine and sales meetings and get that message out there? I mean, I've known Briggs for a little bit of time, but from that day, I was on the site thinking, oh my God, this is all wonderful stuff, and it's stuff that people should really know about. P.S. why we're doing a show. But what about, the rest of the 37,000 agents out there in New York City who might not even know that this exists or that these programs could help them get to that next point? We'll talk a little bit later after the break about how agents can grow their business by utilizing your services. But But how are you going to get that message out there?
Well, that's why I'm here.
Can I schedule you a talk here at Brown Harris Stevens?
Yes, Eric. How are you planning on doing that?
I've already had several lunches and discussions. What I thought was funny, we were down in Miami, and I'm in front of the Viceroy with Douglas Elliman, and then this person turns around and says, Eric. And it was Tony Oakley, who I worked with at Corcoran back in the day,
he was a manager
who's
here
now
for
a
years.
manager at Compass down in Florida.
Yeah.
And so he's
Great
like, please
guy.
come down. And I had just had lunch with Rebecca Mason, who was Stribling when I was there, that's now owned by Compass. So, it's a very small world. And
It's
so
a
now
relationship-driven business, as we all know.
100%.
Without question.
And so what's exciting for me is that I now get to take my 25 years and all these great relationships and have fun by providing long overdue benefits and services to you. And it's no competition to the brokerages. They love it because we're filling that need. And honestly, I'm a known entity, and I think I have a okay relationship or a reputation.
You are well known. It's very true. I said to Briggs, perfect choice. I mean, it couldn't ask for a better, again, relationship-driven, right? Experience in the marketplace, getting the word out there to people that you already know, whether they're managers or agents, and then taking it beyond and presenting, wherever.
And that's why I took this position. It came out of the blue, and knowing Briggs all these years, but also knowing that the company that I used was reputable, was very important to me. So I'm calling this position my next pinnacle role, right? Because I feel like I can run with it.
Pinnacle role.
Pinnacle.
Okay.
Yeah, hot word. SAT word.
We'll take it. We got to take a short break. We're not going anywhere. We're coming right back. This is Talking New York Real Estate on the More Network. Stay right there.
This podcast is supported by the More Network, powered by Brown Harris Stevens. Real estate touches every aspect of our lives, from design and architecture to investing and the economy. Now there's a way to get all your real estate information in one place, the More Network. With more than 20 podcast and webcast series, the Mastery of Real Estate Network is powered by Brown Harris Stevens, one of the country's most distinguished brokerages. Discover advice from notable entrepreneurs, compelling topics, and access to top global real estate experts. Subscribe to their YouTube and Apple podcast channels by visiting getmorenetwork.com.
Okay, we are back. Interesting conversation here. And, just a note to the agent community out there. A lot of this stuff is really not known, as I was just talking off camera. A lot of it is not known to any of us because we don't really pay attention. We don't have to pay attention. We want to pay attention. We don't know where to go. Go to the website, RLTYco.com, for starters, and then one of these guys, will always be behind the scenes to answer questions. But I want to talk a little bit about. We referenced before a little bit. When you free up an agent from stress and from complications and financial burdens, and that deal can't close fast enough, therefore, all the effort is put into worrying about that versus growing their business, planning the next step. What about this and what about that? It just kind of falls by the wayside. We all get the drama and the stress related to that. What advice do you give to the agent out there who's listening about growing your business post relief from RLTYco, growing your business in a mindset that says, okay, I've got this done. Now let me move on to the next, and then the next, and the next. We all know, look, writing a business plan, right? We all know that in this real estate business, not one day is the same. Every day is different. You can never really anticipate what that day is going to bring. You might start the day with one set of plans and end up not even touching those plans throughout the day.
I'd say most times you will not.
Most times you will not. So, you guys have something that can help, in my simple mind, refocus that agent off of stress and into, progress.
So whether you're looking to just grow your market presence, invest in growth opportunities, or even just paying those operational bills, what we allow is that opportunity to create financial flexibility, which empowers you then to have that strategy to grow on a more realistic basis based upon a regular set of criteria versus, I have this closing 1 month away and then 4 months away. It's really being able to just create some sort of calm and stability in an industry that doesn't have those things.
I mean, listen, everybody that's a W-2, most people in the W-2 world, they don't have to think about healthcare. They're not necessarily thinking about taxes even, because at the end of the day, they don't have lots of deductions. It's a matter of just simply they can go that H&R route path. And then, they certainly don't have to think about things like, legal formation. Those are key components of being a real estate agent that, from my perspective, you shouldn't even have to think about it. Meaning, set it, forget it. And if you are not doing that, unfortunately, you're going to get distracted by too many relatively insignificant things at a time that makes it so you can't operate your business smoothly. If you are in a real estate agent profession, you have to only be thinking about one thing: sell, sell, sell. And unfortunately, if you are sell, healthcare, bills, taxes, you don't get to do what you're supposed to be doing. And so
you become a transactional agent, which I've always said there's a difference between a transactional agent and a relationship agent.
Yes.
Okay. And transactional is not a good thing.
Yep.
Okay.
But if you're distracted, how are you supposed to do your job? Is really what it comes down to. And so that's what
correct.
we try to solve.
And what's the when you said you took advantage of the commission advance program and you immediately felt better, you immediately felt like you can go out there and conquer the next deal or whatever was coming up on your plate after that. How do most people, if you get feedback from agents and clients out there, how do they feel? I mean, I would agree that the stress is limited or put aside, and you can better focus, right? Do you get any feedback from people out there after they've taken advantage of your programs?
Well, I would say that's
even on the healthcare side. We'll talk about that.
It's one of the most rewarding parts of the business,
right? And most of our clients are returning clients. So it's not just a one transaction. They're doing it over the long term because they see the flexibility and the stability it provides.
Yeah. So again, we go back and talk about, the stress release. I mean, I kind of love that phrase because in this business, in 22 years of it, you think I look like this on purpose, okay? the stress is unbelievable sometimes, oftentimes. And in the last couple of years, though, with the business being really, really bad, I heard a stat either yesterday or the day before how a majority of agents in this business in the last year and a half, 2 years, have been suffering big time, deal to deal to deal. Okay, it's not been one of my greatest
unfortunately,
years.
it's true.
It is true. Do you, as a person offering, financial assistance, do you worry sometimes that may dry up because there just isn't enough deal activity out there to bring to you for advancement? I mean, when you think about your growth as a company, right, and you've been on a great path the past few years, does that concern you at all? Does this marketplace concern you at all?
I would say that if the last 16, 18 months were to continue for another 16, 18 months, it would certainly get to a point that maybe it is concerning. Mm-hmm. Every industry, no matter whether it's finance, legal, or real estate, just giving really generic ones, all of them at the end of the day, there is a trimming that tends to happen in the sense that people will leave the industry. And I think the biggest thing that will happen in real estate brokerage, if we're being super specific to that, you're probably going to see the revolving door get a little bit bigger for the next 6 to 12 months, and then it'll stabilize as the market stabilizes. Unfortunately, there probably were a lot of people that, I don't know what the percentage is, but the last, say 6 months, I would bet that probably we lost a decent amount of licenses in New York. I know for a fact that the licensing headcount in New York has gone down in the last 12 months. I don't know what the exact amount is. I think we should look at that and get back on it. But I think that will increase over probably the next 6 months because keep in mind, you have the delay in real estate. So if somebody puts something in contract today, they still got to wait. And so if somebody's already on their way out today, they're going to leave because it's not like there's going to be some sudden explosion upwards in the next 2 months.
And you know what's so really interesting to me? I teach at New York Real Estate Institute, but I teach continuing ed. So agents, at least in the business, 2 years plus, right, to get their renewal, 22 and a half hours. I don't teach the new sales class, but and I'm always, when I'm teaching, doing this because it's right next door to me. Yep. And I have to tell you something. And one of the teachers who teaches that class on a regular basis, I see him every Thursday, and I'm like, I still can't get over, even in these rough times, and I'll leave it at rough times, those classes are filled.
They're packed,
They're filled with students who are inspired and motivated, and I'm going to kill it. Because they all come in to talk to me for whatever he says. Go talk to Vince, whatever. They all come in and talk to me, and I sort of interview them and say, "Why are you doing this?" Or "What are you doing?" They're inspired to get out there and kill it. And I don't want to burst their bubble. I mean, I don't know if they understand what the marketplace is actually all about. But you just recently left the brokerage end of the business. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, look, you want to become a real estate agent, please do so. We need good ones. But
even after 25 years, I've spent half of my life in residential real estate and more on the resale side. I mean, I've spent many years in new development, but I have to say it's still the allure, the excitement. I spent 3 years, 2 months, 1 week and 2 days away, but who was counting?
Clearly you are.
No, I mean, New York City, there's no place like it and to transact here. Yeah. And we were talking earlier and I thought about leaving the industry. I went through a 6-week course after almost reaching my 24 years in the industry. And I thought, should I leave? Do the opposite. Everybody has their other career and then they come to real estate. I'm like, I did real estate and then should I do something else? And when I really looked at the core values and what I want to do, it all came right back to residential real estate, but in New York City. We're an interesting group of individuals, but I have to say,
if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Isn't that how it goes?
100%. And
Definitely.
And it's a tough industry, but we learn how to make it. And again, it's the relationship aspect that no matter what you do, it boils down to who are you and can you relate to somebody?
I love that. Yeah, but you're absolutely correct. Who are you? This is, again, I joked a minute ago, if you can make it in New York City in one of the hardest businesses I think that is out there, the people intensive business, you can make it anywhere. We focus, we're determined, we're not going to let anything drag us down. We're going to work through whatever issues we have to. Now, there are going to be some who drop out. I mean, there's no doubt about that. And that's been the history of our industry forever.
Well, and the market changes too, as far as how you do business.
100%. It tells us how to do business. And I've said on this program and people, tell me this when I talk to them. I know you say all the time, the only thing that doesn't, how do we say it? The only thing that's consistent in this business is change. The only thing that's consistent. And believe it, with all the new regulations, all the new rules, all the new laws, I've had 22 years of change. If I wasn't the resilient type, I'd be like, wait a minute, how can I do this?
What is your mindset? I mean, think about when we came into the industry.
It has to be open.
Right. At the end of the 90s, marketing was Barbara Corcoran being on the top of a cab talking about the Corcoran reports and this new thing, Corcoran.com. There were people like, a website? Who would buy real estate on a website? Like, this is ridiculous.
And my company also was right behind them. Absolutely.
Right. And so it's just fascinating. We didn't have social media. We had a flip phone that, you had to text. Every letter was a different number, right? And so
imagine before DocuSign. We were talking about it earlier. You had people that were literally biking around the city just to get the contract signed. Correct. And that was a business in its own business.
Right.
But you had people that were selling real estate, basically dinner parties, right? I mean, it was before my time, but they talked about, it was like the Dewey Decimal System, having everything on these note cards that you would go and search when you needed to find a new exclusive. But
barbaric. I mean, when you think about, and again, 22 years ago is not a lifetime ago. I mean, I keep thinking, oh my God, but it's really not that long ago.
No, it really isn't.
Real Plus was
We're talking about
DOS.
the early 2000s.
I mean, it's post-millennium.
Yeah.
Correct.
Everyone thought Y2K was going to be, the crash of the real estate and the financial markets.
In those days, and I remember that very, very well. If, we were all like on pins and needles when that clock went to midnight, that I'll never forget that my entire life. And when we realized nothing happened.
Absolutely nothing happened.
It was like, okay.
The industry has really changed. It's really elevated itself. I think if you're looking at the people that are entering the business today, is very different, more professional as far as corporation minded, business school minded. They're coming from top schools where you went to school first for real estate or for business creation, entrepreneurship, and so people are looking at it as a totally different way to really build wealth over time.
This is my third career, okay? So I am that old. And I get frustrated with the market today. I get frustrated with whatever. Change sometimes a little crazy. But I always sit back and say, I wouldn't have it any other way. Change is fine. Change is growth, okay? If you want to grow, you need change and you need to get on board with it all the time. Briggs, so great introduction, hopefully, to everybody out there about your company. Did I miss anything? Anything you want to get out there message-wise with regards to RLTYco? What may I have missed? I mean, I'm not talking about the media part of your business. I mean, that's still being developed.
It's in the works. In summary on some of the things that we have coming down the pipeline, that one we'll leave to the next episode.
Correct.
But that is also in the works. We're working very, very hard to be able to provide agents the ability to, so again, comparing to W-2s. In the W-2 world, everybody has the luxury in most cases of a 401k.
Piece of cake.
Whether their employer matches is
that's
a different topic, but they have access to it. Usually as an agent, you have Roth IRA, but most agents aren't out there actively pursuing this because it's not a one-click option like you would have as a W-2. And so we were actually very far down the rabbit hole in discussions to do that with First Republic. And then I think we all know what happened there. So unfortunately that reset the clock for us. But we're actually quite close to a solution that we're working on to offer agents on the retirement side. We are going to be coming out quite soon with education. So we'll have to talk to you about your classes, but we're actually very, very close to offering in all 50 states licensing. So that is a new one-click option that we're going to offer.
Licensing and continuing ed.
Licensing and continuing ed. Listen, I have no issues teaching licensing classes here in New York. It's just that and in fact, I think this coming Thursday, or maybe it's next week, I'm doing some of the broker classes because that person is on vacation or whatever. I love the educational aspect of it, and I think that's a great addition. And I think that resonates with people out there. Look, like I said, the market may be what it is, but there's always an interest in joining this industry. Everybody watched, the TV shows, and everybody watched all them, multi-million-dollar.
Social media and reality TV have changed the game.
Correct. And everybody wants to make $1 million, and everyone wants to have these grand old open house parties and blah, blah, blah. When I was a manager of agents, they used to come to me and say, so I get a budget to have all these big parties, or I get a budget to have a car service. And I'm like, no, you don't have a budget for that. I'm like, no. I pay for my own taxis. I pay for my own, schlepping around with clients or whatever. And if I have a big bash of a party, if the client isn't willing to pay for it, oh, well, you do what you got to do. But that's the perception out there. And it is what it is. And it's a great thing. But I think our industry has changed dramatically. Your company introducing all of these, what I like to call services to us is amazing. And again, it's a matter of getting that word out there because we all need to hear what's available. And as you grow, the good news is with sales, it never stops. You go out there and talk about one message, and then you go back again and talk about another message or a new message, right?
We're excited for what's next. We just look forward to being, the agents telling us, what do you need?
Well, I was going to ask you about, to conclude, you want to hear feedback back from your agents about what they would like, and are you willing to, incorporate that into your business structure?
I can tell you right now, healthcare was Realty Capital was the first foray, but everything that has followed was all based upon a request. Meaning that somebody reached out to us and said, can you help me with this? You would be shocked. We've gotten a lot of requests, some we can't fulfill. But at the end of the day, the goal is...
You can't fulfill it today.
Correct. Well, some, you get some funny ones.
Some bizarre.
You do get some bizarre ones. But at the end of the day, everything that we continue to add on is because somebody asked for it.
Sure.
And so unless somebody comes to us and tells us this is what I need, we're not going to be able to go. We're not going to do it because we're here to be supportive and to help at the end of the day.
Briggs, Eric, thank you. Great conversation. Come back
Pleasure.
again.
Thank you for having us.
And we are coming right back with my closing thoughts of the week. Don't go anywhere.
Hi, it's Stephen Bailey from Roadway Moving and Storage. Listening to Vince Rocco, you know the right partner makes all the difference. At Roadway, we deliver an experience your clients will love. For specialized services and white glove care, choose Roadway. Want to learn more? Email me at steven@roadwaymoving.com or visit roadwaymoving.com.
All right, everybody, we are back with my closing thoughts for the week. Losing sometimes is often a deeply personal experience, blending disappointment, introspection, and resilience. For many, a loss means not just missing out on a position or deal, but also feeling that your ideas, values, or visions weren't embraced. It's natural to question decisions, strategies, or external factors that may have influenced the result, yet someone's losses can only offer unique insight, a clearer understanding of what resonates with people, and lessons learned in adaptability. Reflecting on the journey, building connections, advocating for issues, and igniting conversations that can remind all of us of the impact we've had, even if we didn't secure that win. Moving forward after a loss, it's about shifting our goals and making the next thing happen. It's a process of redefining goals, reconnecting with our peers, and considering new paths for growth. Moving forward means taking lessons learned and using them as a fuel for the future, whether it's our clients, our community work, or a different adventure completely. In our choice to be resilient, we find new purpose in servicing and making impact, even if it looks different than we originally imagined. And that's our broadcast for today. Thanks to my guests for being here on set with me. You can follow me on Facebook, on Threads, Instagram, LinkedIn, or TikTok at Vince Rocco, or my website, thinkvince.com. Nelson Mandela said, "The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we do fall." And from all of us here at Talking New York Real Estate and the More Network to all of you all around the world, thanks for spending a part of your day with us. I am truly grateful, and I will see you next time. Goodbye, everybody.